You are about to enter another dimension, the dimension of truth, unfiltered and uncensored. Welcome to the Raw Feed with Gary Franchi.
Welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, coming to you live from the heart of America. Unfiltered truth to millions on YouTube. Hit those donation links below. Every contribution powers our gear. Every contribution keeps the party going. Help me help you. Hit those donation links. YouTube channel memberships. Special acknowledgement in the fellowship. Your super chats keep me standing. Your Rumble rants fuel every round.
Say hello to super chats.
Spread the intel. Every repost extends our reach.
Super chats fuel this spectacle. Your Rumble rants give me strength.
24/7 members only community. Behind the scenes discussions.
Connect with fellow patriots.
Share this via text message. Send it to your friends. Text bypasses everything. Just do it. The app is real. Download the Next News Network app. Android user, take the Google Play path. iPhone user, App Store awaits. Breaking news in real time.
Patriots, we are witnessing the systematic collapse of the deep state's house of cards. Welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi. Today, October 16th, marks a pivotal moment in American history. In 1859, John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry exposed the deep divisions tearing America apart. Divisions between those who believed in law and order versus those who thought violence could reshape society. Sound familiar? Well, today we are witnessing the same battle. Law-abiding patriots versus the radical left's mob rule. And just like Brown's raiders infiltrated the federal arsenal, today's infiltrators have penetrated our police departments. Homeland Security just exposed an illegal alien cop in Illinois, making $78,000 a year, carrying a gun, arresting Americans for 10 years while here illegally. Governor Pritzker's sanctuary state literally armed an invader and gave him a badge. Meanwhile, at the Pentagon, President Trump and Secretary Hegseth just executed the greatest media purge in military history. Over 30 fake news outlets refused accountability pledges and got booted. Reporters surrendered badges, cleared offices, and fled the building as Trump declared, "No more fake news on our soldiers' sleeves." The Democrat shutdown, that theater continues as Hakeem Jeffries literally raps about Republicans, while Bernie Sanders admits on live TV it's all about beating Trump. Senator Fetterman just destroyed their narrative, stating that shutting government is what Democrats really want. They've blown $2.5 billion on illegals while veterans starve. And border czar Tom Homan's crackdown intensifies. 175,000 patriots have joined ICE's ranks as Operation Midway exposes the invasion's depth. Radical judges are tearing down ICE facility fencing just days before planned No King's Day riots. Ted Cruz confirms that George Soros is bankrolling these protests at 2,500 locations nationwide. And federal authorities now confirm Antifa qualifies for drone strikes under terrorism laws. Chuck Schumer's promoting riots instead of reopening government, too. The deep state's desperation shows they're mobilizing street mobs because Trump is draining their swamp. From illegal cops to media purges, from shutdown lies to weekend riots, the establishment's mask has fallen completely off. They gave badges to invaders, billions to criminals. Now they're unleashing chaos to stop Trump's restoration of law and order. This is it, patriots. The battle lines are drawn. On one side, Trump, ICE, and 175,000 new defenders of America. On the other, Soros, Schumer, and their street army preparing to burn it all down. The October surprise they feared is here. Total exposure of their criminal enterprise. So we're going to dive into these explosive stories that prove the swamp creatures are panicking as their empire crumbles. The illegal alien cop scandal is shocking Illinois, exposing just how deep the sanctuary state corruption goes. Yes, that is the first topic of the evening. But first, let's welcome you to the show. Scott Edwards, James Sari, Karen Finley, D. Mooses, Jerome Schlichter, Mrs. Pothead Kenny, Alfred John. Who else? Irving is here. What's up? He wants the honest truth. And that's what you're going to get. Let her rip. Sure you. Gospel in the house. Who else is here tonight? Dan Thompson, Bill's Rules. Kentucky Trailer Man in the house. Pam Sripov in the house. Good morning from Cambodia. What's up, Cambodia in the house? Carolina Girl in the house. Good to see you. Rob Bomber is here. Michael Jones, Mrs. Pothead Kenny, Mr. Pothead Kenny. Everybody is filing in, and looks like we have a super chat right out the gate from Irving. Dems just want to save face for all the illegals they promise citizenship for a vote. Yeah, good luck with that. Jennifer in the house from Wisconsin. James Queensberry in Roanoke. K. O'Connell, like the new page, Gary. Thank you. What page are you talking about? Hello from Gridout, Michigan. John Lee, Michael Jones, and the family. What's up, fam? We got P11B30 is present and accounted for. Doreen Jones in the house. What's up, Tyson? I see you there. I see you, Tyson. Doreen, Roxanne from Michigan. Who else? Come on, guys. This is your moment to shine. Who's here? Oh, and did you share the stream yet? Just tap that share button, copy the link, post it into your phone, text it out to some of your buddies, and confirm you did so by pressing 1 in the chat room. You guys like the new opener? Yeah, we replaced that 60-second timer with something a little bit more entertaining. Yeah, some amazing AI videos from the Sora app. I've been playing around with that. Oh, and here's a little pro tip. As you know, we do release all the segments from the show on the channel itself as independent uploads. Well, we're going to show you something on those independent uploads at the beginning of each one. It will not be seen on this live feed. Something special that I created on Sora that will be put right before each of the videos. I think you guys are going to really get a kick out of it. Oh, yeah. It's amazing what that thing can do with my likeness and anything I can dream up, really. I can do anything, as you saw in the opener. White Tiger, Clutch, Mary B. Crabtree, Alfred John Lee, Clutch confirming, Michael Jones confirming. What's up? All right, Brian, let's get at it. We got news to cover. The system is more corrupt than you ever imagined. An illegal alien's been walking around Illinois with a badge and a gun for a decade, arresting American citizens while breaking federal law every single day. Homeland Security just blew the lid off his scandal in Hanover Park, and what they found should terrify every law-abiding American. We've got exclusive analysis from Mark Vargas of the Illinois Review, who joined me to break down how Governor Pritzker's sanctuary state allowed this to happen, and why this is just the tip of the iceberg, and the numbers will shock you. The corruption runs deeper than anyone thought, and the cover-up reaches the highest levels of Illinois. So stay with me. Now, before I do get to that, did you know that gold has gone mainstream? Yes, you're seeing it everywhere. Prices keep climbing every day. More and more Americans are catching on to the power of gold. But how do you actually take advantage of it? How do you invest in a way that's safe, simple, and built for the long run? Well, that's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. Noble Gold Specialist helps investors go from confused to confident. Whether you are rolling over an old 401k into a gold IRA or want physical coins and bars delivered to your home, Noble Gold makes the process simple. Visit nextnewsgold.com. It's linked down below to claim your free wealth protection kit and find out if you qualify for that silver bonus. You can call the number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Now, earlier today, I sat down with Mark Vargas to get reaction on that explosive breaking news today. Listen, for Illinois. Got some breaking news that will make your blood boil. Homeland Security has exposed an illegal alien working as a police officer in Pritzker's, Illinois, making nearly $80,000 a year with a badge and a gun. This comes as we've uncovered Governor Pritzker spent $2.5 billion on illegal aliens while Democrats kept our government shut down. Mark Vargas from Illinois Review is here with exclusive analysis of this explosive scandal. An illegal who should have left in 2015 has been arresting Americans for a decade. Meanwhile, Texas Guard troops remain blocked from restoring order. Mark, this is insanity. Welcome back. Let's check out this news as it broke.
Let's do breaking news now. Immigration, Customs and Enforcement has just revealed in the last short time a police officer working in Illinois is an illegal immigrant. Radulle Bajic works for the Hanover Police Department. He graduated from the academy in August, but he has been living in the U.S. illegally for a decade after his tourist visa expired in 2015. His illegal status was discovered as part of Operation Midway. So we wanted to bring you the very latest.
Mark, we've just learned an illegal alien has been working as a cop in Hanover Park, making $78,000 a year. How the hell does this happen in America?
Clearly, it slipped through the cracks, but what it does is it reaches to the deepest fears of every American, and particularly Illinoisans, that we have illegal criminal aliens all around us throughout our community. And though they may not look like someone who's just come from Venezuela or Honduras, they could be in your neighborhood as a local police officer, like what we see here in Hanover Park. But what a unbelievable story. And it cuts right to the heart of everyday Illinoisans not feeling safe. And it's why President Trump has deployed the National Guard via Texas, and why we have federal ICE agents to restore law and order. The irony is that you have a police officer who's supposed to uphold the law, but what we learned, thanks to President Trump's administration and rooting out illegal aliens, we learned that those that are supposed to protect the law are also now breaking the law.
Well, let's take a look at the tweet here from the Homeland Security Department. They say Pritzker doesn't just allow illegals to terrorize communities, he lets them become sworn officers. Combined with the $2.5 billion in free health care, is Illinois completely lawless at this point?
No doubt about it. I mean, Illinois, under Governor Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson, it's a community and a city and a state that victimizes the criminals and criminalizes the victims. And those victims also include federal ICE agents. We've seen a 1,000% increase on assaults on federal ICE agents. But then again, this cuts to the core issue, and that is the safety of everyday people. And that is really the number one responsibility of any elected official, including the governor and the mayor, is to protect the people. And what, again, the Trump administration has discovered is alarming. It's shocking, but we shouldn't be surprised, because particularly in a state like Illinois, a sanctuary state, they protect illegal aliens rather than deport them.
Now, this illegal cop, he was supposed to leave in March 31st of 2015. Mark, that's 10 years of arresting American citizens while here illegally. What are your sources saying about how many more illegal cops might be out there?
Well, this is certainly going to open up Pandora's box. And I can assure you that because of this discovery just moments ago, Gary, that now they're going to be looking at the police departments across all across the state of Illinois. At the state capitol, Democrats tried to introduce legislation to allow non-citizens to become police officers, non-citizens to carry firearms. And so, again, this is a state that has protected illegal aliens, but this is earth-shattering, this news, and it's certainly going to send shockwaves across local police departments, who I can guarantee you right now are beginning to look at their personnel records and check the status of their police officers.
Meanwhile, we've got the Texas Guard blocked by Judge Perry while ICE riots continue at ICE facilities. And then, of course, there's the Soros connection. Are illegals now more protected than our own National Guard, Mark?
Well, that's certainly very obvious. And the answer emphatically is yes, unfortunately. And again, this is the Chicago machine. This is the Democrat Obama Biden machine hard at work. Again, Judge Perry, not only was she appointed by President Biden in 2024, shortly before he left office in a humiliating fashion, but she also served as the chief ethics officer for Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx, who during her entire tenure criminalized victims and victimized the criminals. Thousands and thousands of violent criminals are walking the streets of Chicago because of Kim Foxx. Why? Because her largest campaign contributor, Gary, George Soros, put $2 million into a PAC. And so this is no surprise that these activist judges who are in the pockets of Obama and Biden and George Soros would make this type of decision that would, yes, endanger the lives of everyday residents.
Now, excuse me, your investigation, pardon me. Sorry, your investigation showed Pritzker overspent by $547 million on illegals. Now they're getting badges. How deep does this corruption go?
Well, I think we're only scratching the surface, and not just in places like Chicago, but in all of these Democratic-run cities. This is opening up Pandora's box, what has been revealed here at a local police department. But yes, $2.5 billion has been spent on illegals to get free health care in Illinois since 2022. And what that resulted in is Governor Pritzker, who claims to be a business genius, right? I'm a billionaire. Nobody knows business better than I do. Well, he overshot the runway by $547 million. They guessed wrong, and programs that they thought they'd spend less, they ended up spending more. And who fronts the bill? Illinois taxpayers. So not only are Illinois taxpayers, are their lives in danger because these violent, vicious, illegal aliens who have infiltrated our communities and even now local police departments, but now they're also having to front the bill for gigantic mistakes and errors that have been created by Governor Pritzker and his administration, and paying for the free health care of illegal aliens while everyday residents in the south and west sides of Chicago, particularly black moms and black babies, are dying at unusually high rates because of infant mortality and sudden infant death syndrome. Those programs, these necessary programs, are all underfunded because all of the money, all of the resources have been allocated to protect illegal aliens.
Mark, let's zoom out now, because Democrats voted 8 times to keep the shutdown going while funding illegals, with 70% opposing the shutdown. in this cop scandal. Is this a death blow for Pritzker?
Absolutely. And the polling, I just saw an article come out today and out of Washington that the Democrats are hemorrhaging support, that their poll numbers are dropping like a rock. There's no doubt. Everybody knows that this government has been shut down on one issue alone, despite what the Democrats want to tell you. One issue: healthcare, free healthcare for illegal aliens to the tune of $200 billion. But an overwhelming majority of Americans blame the Democratic Party for the shutdown. And just recently, Gary, just a few days ago, Rasmussen put out a brand new poll, and it said two things. Number one, everyday Americans overwhelmingly support President Trump in ridding our cities, Democratic-run cities, of illegal aliens. And secondarily, an overwhelming majority of Americans support the deployment of federal ICE agents and the National Guard, not only to protect everyday legal residents, but to rid these cities of illegals and to protect federal ICE agents.
Now, Mark, final question. American veterans going unpaid, mothers losing WIC, but illegals get health care and police jobs. What's it going to take for Illinois citizens to rise up?
I believe they already are rising up. And what I'm hearing, Gary, from sources on the south and west sides of Chicago, from longtime Democratic political operatives, is as they're walking around and knocking on doors at night to try and get signatures on petitions to get Democratic candidates on the ballot, local ballot, guess what's happening? Residents are pushing back and refusing to sign the petitions of Democratic candidates. And these are residents predominantly in black communities in the south and west sides of Chicago. They're refusing to sign the petitions of Democratic candidates. Why? Because $2.5 billion of money necessary that would have helped their communities have been gone to illegal aliens. They don't feel safe. The streets are a war zone. Innocent families, men, women, children, and babies are dying by murder every single day. And what have the Democrats been doing? Instead of taking care of their own residents, they want to take care, shield, and protect illegals instead.
All right, Mark, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Patriots, you just witnessed the ultimate betrayal, an illegal alien with a badge arresting Americans for 10 years while collecting $80,000 a year. Pritzker gives them $2.5 billion in health care and police powers while your veterans starve. This is treason at the highest level. So share this everywhere. Make sure you go to IllinoisReview.com. They've got the full investigation and demand Congress act now. The invasion isn't coming. It's here, and they have badges. Got some breaking news. So that was my hit with Mark earlier today. The police officer in Illinois arrested by ICE. Democrats have illegals enforcing the law in their states. It's out of control. This is the photograph of the police officer. No, he's not a brown guy, is he? Nope, certainly not. Oh, and speaking of Pritzker, we got this. J.B. Pritzker claims, ready for this? The $1.4 million in gambling income that he reported on his partially released tax returns came from one single trip to Las Vegas where he got incredibly lucky. Sure. Sounds like money laundering, a bribe that he got in Las Vegas.
I obviously, and I've explained this, or at least we did in a statement, that I went on vacation with my wife, with some friends. I was incredibly lucky. You have to be to end up ahead, frankly, going to a casino anywhere. It was in Las Vegas, and I like to play cards, and so that I founded a charitable poker match here in Chicago called the Chicago Poker Challenge that has raised millions of dollars for the Holocaust Museum here. And particularly to stand up for civil rights. That's much of what the Holocaust Museum does. And so, anyway, that's all I can say.
He got incredibly lucky with an incredibly lucky bribe. That's my take. We got this from Ben Berquam. More on that. We got exclusive video from him. ICE arresting an illegal alien. And here's Ben Berquam. I think he's talking to an ICE officer.
It's not a good thing. The fact that a police department either missed or overlooked a B2 oversight, which is a federal statute, To me, that's not a good thing.
So he was a visa overstay, but even that, because non-citizens can't have a gun. So how can you be a police officer?
Correct. So, I mean, per Chicago, they have a rule from their own police department that all they require is a work authorization. Okay, that's
to be a police officer in Chicago or
that's their requirement.
Illinois.
That's their requirement. And if that's the case, they still cannot ignore the fact that he was overstaying. And that's a federal statute. So whether or not they came up or they missed it or whatever it is, I'm not blaming them, but it was missed, right? So we need to do something.
And we've confirmed that, so he's visa overstay.
Correct.
Wow.
Hey, good job, guys, good job.
So this is breaking. Apparently this gentleman here, this police officer at Hanover Police Department, just outside of Chicago, is here illegally, overstayed his visa. How he got a job as a police officer. Crazy.
So how long have you been a police officer?
Since January 8th.
January of this year?
Correct. I just finished the academy.
You just finished the academy, okay. All right.
You had to get that.
Just to confirm though too.
Yeah.
So they
amazing exclusive footage from Ben Berquam of the actual arrest. He's sitting next to the guy.
Hired you on, you had work authorization?
Correct.
And you were able to carry a firearm?
No.
Okay.
On duty, yes. Off duty, no.
So on duty, you could carry a firearm.
State of Illinois, you need a FOID and a CCW to carry a weapon off duty.
But on duty, you could?
Correct.
Wow. You know, what's crazy about this is I don't know anything about him other than he says he loves America. The problem is he's not even a citizen. So he can't own a firearm legally in our country, but he's being given a firearm by the state of Illinois as a police officer in the state. And apparently all you have to have is work authorization in this state. That is insane. You haven't even sworn allegiance to our country yet, and yet we're giving you a firearm. Now, this guy may be a great guy, but how many others are working in our country as police officers who aren't great guys? That's insane. That law has to change. I mean, you can't own a firearm unless you're an American citizen. But police departments are going to give you a firearm and allow you to use that in a potentially deadly force situation with citizens when you haven't even passed a citizenship test, but you're supposed to be upholding the Constitution of our country. That is insane.
Wow, Ben Berquam for the win. That was epic. Here, Governor Pritzker is the topic of conversation with Real Tom Hallman. Question is asked, why do you think Governor Pritzker is so adamant against you and ICE?
Across that border. President Trump's policies, whether people want to face it or not, is saving lives by the thousands. Under Joe Biden, a record number of aliens died making that journey. A record number of Americans died from fentanyl coming across that border. This administration is not only enforcing law and making our streets safe again, they're saving thousands of lives.
Why do you think Governor Pritzker is so adamant against you and ICE? Why?
Because they hate Trump more than they love the residents of Chicago.
Is it that simple, though?
You tell me. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well,
yes.
I think any elected mayor, any elected governor, any elected city council person, their number one responsibility is the safety of their communities. President Trump's policies, would people want
to hate Trump more than they love America. Stephen Miller, 21 hours ago on J.B. Pritzker.
And let's just be, I mean, he's a fool and he's a moron, but also, most importantly, Sean, he hates America. And let's just be honest about it. You can't love your country and then fight President Trump to keep murderers murdering. Just think about that for a second. President Trump is saying, let us work with you, with the FBI, with ICE, with ATF, with DEA, with the National Guard, to stop the murdering in your city. And Pritzker is saying he wants to protect the murderers. The people that are shooting dozens and dozens of people every single week. Chicago is more dangerous than Baghdad. It's more dangerous than Mexico City. So shame on Pritzker, and God bless President Trump for fighting for the citizens of this country, Sean. Well, I mean, he's a fool.
If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Now, this isn't just about one rogue cop, patriots. This is about a system so broken that illegal aliens are enforcing American laws while collecting taxpayer salaries. Think about every traffic stop, every arrest, every interaction that this man had with citizens for 10 years, all while he was a federal fugitive. And Pritzker spending $2.5 billion protecting people like him, while black mothers on Chicago's South Side can't get basic health care. Mark Vargas confirmed police departments across Illinois are now scrambling, auditing their files, terrified of what they'll find. This is what happens when Democrats put ideology over security, when sanctuary policies become more important than citizen safety. So here's my question for you. Should every police officer in America be required to pass an E-Verify test before getting a badge? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments, and Patriots, show your support for real law and order. Check out our merch shop. It's linked in the description. Yeah, how about that, right? I was prepping for the interview with Mark, and all of a sudden, boom, that story broke, and it was amazing. Dan Thompson dropping $5. I'll be passing out things. We used to play baseball at the No Kings rally. Ooh, why am I yawning? Pardon me. Okay. We're going to move on to our next topic. Haha. Looks like CNN is getting it. Oh boy. This is huge news. What's happening at the Pentagon? Okay. The Pentagon press corps just got a reality check they will never forget. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth implemented new accountability rules that sent over 30 news outlets into complete meltdown. And here's what's incredible. These rules are actually reasonable. I mean, think about it. Reporters can't just wander into the Oval Office whenever they want, right? They need clearance, escorts, and accountability. But somehow the Pentagon became a free-for-all where journalists roamed classified hallways like they owned the place. When Hegseth demanded basic security protocols, the media acted like democracy was dying. What really happened, though? The establishment press lost their backdoor access to leak classified information and spin war narratives. The walkout, historic, and the tantrum, predictable. We've got it all, so keep watching. But did you know that gold has gone mainstream? You're seeing it everywhere, and prices keep climbing. Every day, more Americans are catching on to the power of gold. But how do you actually take advantage of it? How do you invest in a way that's safe, simple, and built for the long run? That's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. Noble Gold specialists help investors go from confused to confident. Whether you're rolling over an old 401k into gold IRA or want physical coins and bars delivered home, Noble Gold makes the process simple. Visit Next News Gold today to claim your free wealth protection kit and see if you qualify for that silver bonus. You see it on the screen. Or you can call 877-646-5347 and tell them Gary Franchi said hello. Now, right on cue, Brian Stelter on CNN. Brian Stelter. Pentagon beat reporters have been handing in their press passes all day long today. It's one of the most striking examples of news media solidarity we've seen this year.
Radical new policy. Reporters have been showing up at the Pentagon today and handing in their press passes. This is an extraordinary moment showing that the Pentagon is not changing, not backing away from this drastic radical new policy. And the news outlets, the reporters, the editors, the media lawyers who said this is unacceptable, they're not changing their tune either. So all the major networks, all the major wire service and newspaper reporters who cover the Pentagon day in, day out are turning in their credentials. And essentially, as of tomorrow, you won't have those journalists able to work out of the Pentagon complex anymore.
No, they can work. See what he said? You catch that? They can work. They just have to sign the pledge, right? So think about this. Let's pull it back for a second. You've got mainstream media who loves to spin lies and hate Trump all day long. They're getting classified leaks inside the Pentagon. And guess what? Now those leaks are going to disappear. They're not going to, even if they were there, because now they're not going to have access to those classified areas of the building. And what's even better is now independent outlets will be the ones who are going to say, you know what, we're going to go in. If you guys won't, we will. Right? Like Next News Network. Sure, fine, we'll go in. We'll get the scoop. You guys won't. Am I right? Are you following me on this one here? Oh, it's just the beginning. President Trump, though, just a couple hours ago. Oh, it's classic Trump. Watch this.
Yeah, please.
Following up on that, when you
I didn't say you. You CNN fake news. Go ahead.
President Trump refuses to take questions from CNN. You're fake news. Oh, Caitlin Collins probably burning up there. Fake news media reporters. Here's the video. Walking out of the Pentagon after refusing to sign new press rule agreements. Bye-bye. News outlets refused to sign the new press rules that replaced a long-standing... What was that? Replaced a long-standing one-page agreement. Look at them all. So I guess they're just going to be out of a job? What are they going to do? Here's more. Pentagon gave reporters an ultimatum. Sign new restrictive press rules by Tuesday or lose access by Wednesday. Every major news outlet has rejected the demand. And Amy McGrath writes, kudos to these journalists for not allowing the government to silence them. A free press keeps power in check, and the moment we let government decide who gets to ask questions, we all lose our voice. Well, that's why you have Pentagon briefings. That's why there's a Pentagon briefing room. That's where the press is allowed to go. Like when I go to the White House, I just can't walk into the Oval Office. No, I cannot. I can't walk, willy-nilly through the White House, wherever I want to go. There are clear, defined areas where I can go. And the press briefing room is where the press gets to ask all the questions they want. So while they're complaining that they can't go into the Pentagon wherever they want to go, they still have access. It's just they don't have access to the working areas of the Pentagon. Okay, so let's listen to this guy. Let's see. Let's see.
Position on everything. Kudos to the media outlets for standing up for our democracy.
I said this guy. Whoops. Definitely got the pronoun wrong on that one.
And freedom of the press. In a world where we are seeing so many institutions cave to the intimidation by the federal government and the Trump administration, there were no major media networks who agreed to Pete Hegseth's demand for capitulation. Hegseth demanded that media outlets agree to not publish any material about the Defense Department, even if it were unclassified, unless it was authorized by the department. Seriously. He wanted basically to turn media outlets into government propagandists. He set a deadline of last night for members of the press to sign to agree to be vessels of Trump's propaganda or risk handing over their press badges. No one signed it, thankfully, because it's an assault on freedom of the press, something that our military, by the way, has fought to protect for over 200 years. That freedom is enshrined in our Constitution, by the way. America, we don't want a bunch of authoritarian newspapers only touting our government's position on everything. Like we're living in some...
Like, what's an authoritarian newspaper? You mean like the New York Times? Like CNN?
Communist China or the Soviet Union. So, bravo to the press corps for not caving. We must all not cave right now. Choose the harder right instead of the easier wrong. Stand. Not with fear, but with honor. Kudos.
As a reporter, like I get the want for access, but at the same time, like I was talking with Todd before this show today, we were talking about this topic, and it was very clear that you have access, but you don't have access to the entire freaking building. Here's President Trump 48 hours ago, speaking about the new press policy at the Pentagon.
I appreciate the question.
Will you consider consider removing new restrictions on the press that report at the Pentagon? And have you spoken to Secretary Hegseth about this?
I have, yeah. Well, he's finding, I think I can speak for him. I'll let him speak for himself, but I think he finds the press to be very disruptive in terms of world peace and maybe security for our nation. Press is very dishonest. Not you, but the press is very dishonest. Do you have something to say, Pete?
Well, I very much appreciate the question because it was interesting to watch. We had a chance to go along on the historic trip of Middle East peace, which our generation of veterans never dreamed would be possible. So you would think that the Pentagon press corps of all press corps would be front and center across the board on wanting to give credit to the president for forging this kind of peace, and instead what they want to talk about is a policy about them, which simply says maybe the policy should look like the White House or other military installations where you have to wear a badge that identifies that you're press, or you can't just roam anywhere you want. It used to be, Mr. President, the press could go anywhere, pretty much anywhere in the Pentagon, the most classified area in the world. Or also that if they sign on to the credentialing, they're not going to try to get soldiers to break the law by giving them classified information. So it's common sense stuff, Mr. President. We're trying to make sure national security is respected, and we're proud of the policy.
You know, we have an option here, as you know, the press years ago moved into the White House. It used to be across the street. We could move them. You're lucky I'm president, because we could move them very easily across the street. They used to be there. They would have more room. We have a beautiful, nice space. You can sit all by yourselves and have fun. Instead, you walk around the White House talking to anybody that can breathe. And, you know, but I find that when it comes to war, and now our great Department of War, we have some great people over there, I think it bothers me to have soldiers and even, you know, high-ranking generals walking around with you guys on their sleeve, asking them, because they can make a mistake, and a mistake can be tragic. They can do it innocently, too. They can, you know, and they're not press people. They don't really deal with the press, so they're not really necessarily good at it, although I think it's mostly instinctual one way or the other. You're either good at things or you're not. But I could see you being bothered by that. And so you have them in an area, and you treat them fairly, but they're not allowed to go into
much like the
somebody's office and sit with them for 10 hours.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Will you consider removing new restrictions?
Much like the what? Yeah, like the White House. And they're complaining. Here we have the American Voice. 24 hours ago, Pete Hegseth, Pentagon press reforms are a bold strike against the fake news machine. It's plagued our military for years. Tired of leaks and spin from biased hacks who prioritize gotchas over national security. These rules demand accountability, report facts, not fiction. Critics cry spoon-feeding, but real patriots know it's about protecting America first. Even Fox pushing back, but Hegseth's got the guts to drain the swamp. Let's check in. This is ABC.
Protection. Talk about the Pentagon and covering the Pentagon. There are these new stipulations, new rules that have been put out, and we in the media, along with all the networks and also newspapers, had a media statement to respond. It was due today, and here it is. Today we join virtually every other news organization in declining to agree to the Pentagon's new requirements, which would restrict journalists' abilities to keep the nation and the world informed of important national security issues. The policy is without precedent and threatens core journalistic protections. We will continue to cover the U.S. military, as each of our organizations has done for many decades, upholding the principles of a free and independent press. That's ABC News, CBS News, CNN, Fox News Media, and NBC News signing that. Here is the Secretary of War at the cabinet meeting in his interpretation of what all this means.
You have to wear a badge that identifies that you're press, or you can't just roam anywhere you sign on to the credentialing. They're not going to try to get soldiers to break the law by giving them classified information. So it's common classified area in the world. Or also that if they sign on to the credentialing, they're not going to try to get soldiers to break the law by giving them classified information. So it's common sense stuff.
Kind of simplified it there than what's on the paper. I covered the Pentagon for 6.5 years. I covered the White House for 4 years. I covered the Pentagon when you were there.
Yeah, right.
And we knew not to, you don't walk into the tank, and the classified areas are off limits. We obviously were always trying to get the story from different elements, and there was a freedom, but everybody had badges with them. At the White House, I never walked into the Oval Office or the Situation Room. These are stipulations that essentially are changing the dynamic about how to get information and how they disseminate information.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like the whole story is being told to our viewers here. What they're really doing, they want to spoon feed information to the journalists, and that will be their story. That's not journalism. Journalism is going out and finding the story and getting all the facts to support it. And no one's going to
talk about the Pentagon and covering the Pentagon. There are these new
a lot of butthurt in the mainstream media today. Ben Ferguson brings the truth to Newsnight with Abby Phillip about the Pentagon new press rules. There are a lot of people that are in the media that are operatives for the Democrat Party. Oh, it all becomes clear, doesn't it?
Put out propaganda. I'm a member of the media as a talk show host. I want to have access. I think one of the big things, though, that people are underestimating is the American people look at a lot of the media now as not actually members of the media. They look at them as people that put out propaganda for one side. And there are a lot of people that are in the media that are operatives for the Democratic Party.
Well,
I don't think you're going to see
in that, because you just described yourself as a
I'm
member
open
of
and
the
honest
media.
about who I am. I'm a hardcore conservative. I don't masquerade as a non-biased individual who's doing hit pieces all the time on conservatives.
Sure, but I don't think conservatives, I mean...
I'm a member of the media.
See, that's the difference. I don't lie about my bias. Okay, I don't pretend to be some impartial reporter. I have opinions, I present them. I react to the news, I present it. But of course, you know, the mainstream press has become a wing of the Democrat Party, continually spewing Democrat talking points. Real America's Voice 14 hours ago asked the question, should the Pentagon press pool be allowed in classified areas? Secretary of War Pete Hegseth established new guidelines for the Pentagon press pool. Here is some reaction. Monica Page reporting from the White House.
But I mean, you happened to be at the Pentagon today. Tell us what you were doing, what we can look forward to, and also some of the other new. You may have been the last reporter in the Pentagon, possibly. Monica Page, Turning Point's White House correspondent.
Gemma, it was so cool. Okay, so it was completely it wasn't even planned. But I mean, the interview that I had with the press secretary of the Department of War, Kingsley Wilson, that was planned. But unbeknownst to us, they would be telling the members of the press who cover the Pentagon, you better clear out your workspace by 5 p.m. Eastern time, or, we're going to call security and get you out of here ourselves. Essentially, why that is the way it is, there's a huge memo going around on social media. I'm sure many of our audience have seen it. It's the Department of War saying, listen, here are specific guidelines to cover the Pentagon, and here's how you can avoid getting in trouble, essentially. There are specific wings and areas of the Pentagon where press and reporters can access, and there are many places where they cannot access. And when I was speaking to the press secretary, she told me she kind of likened it and compared it to how we cover the White House here. You wouldn't just waltz into Secretary Pete Hegseth's office on any day, just like we wouldn't just waltz into the Oval Office and look for President Trump. That's just not how things work. A lot of the things that happen or discussed are very classified material at the Pentagon. It's highly confidential, and it's just a national security risk to have any sort of reporter running around, wandering, roaming through the walls and the halls of the Pentagon. So they're saying, listen, if you want specific interviews, contact us. We're happy to give you more information. If you still want to cover the Pentagon, you can do so from your bureau, but please sign on and just acknowledge that you understand our new rules. And of course, the mainstream media is just kind of blowing it out of proportion, saying this is an attack on our First Amendment rights as reporters, as journalists, but essentially it's common sense rules. You shouldn't be wandering the halls of Raising Cane's office and wandering around Pete Hegseth's office. That's just not how you should be conducting yourself, especially as a journalist. You should be going about things the right way, asking for permission for interviews. What can we expect? Get more information. But essentially, I'm very excited to share that interview with you guys as it comes out. We just did the interview today with the Department of War Press Secretary Kingsley Wilson.
Yeah, so with the big vacancy now, independent press is going to be all over it. Here is the Pentagon briefing room. And it looks like that's going to be pretty empty from now on, except for a few holdouts like independent press.
Have their Pentagon. At least 30 news organizations declined to sign a new Pentagon access policy with added restrictions for journalists ahead of a Tuesday deadline. The new policy says journalists could be branded security risks and have their Pentagon press badges revoked if they ask department employees to disclose classified and some types of unclassified information. Reuters is among the outlets that have refused to sign, citing the threat posed to press freedoms. All 5 major U.S. broadcast networks issued a joint statement on Tuesday, saying the policy was, quote, without precedent and threatens core journalistic protections, and that it would restrict journalists' ability to report on national security issues. The new rules followed weeks of negotiations with Pentagon officials. A lawyer familiar with those talks said the requirement that reporters acknowledge that disclosure of sensitive information could harm U.S. national security could aid
Sounds like it's a bunch of common sense to me. Here's more. 11 hours ago, press badges down, reporters walking out. The world's most powerful military just picked a fight with the Fourth Estate. Dozens of journalists from CNN to The Guardian to Fox News turned in their Pentagon press badges and walked out after the new rules. Here's some of the video from that.
On the road AP wire, right?
Yeah. Look at them. They've got cardboard boxes, signs. I wonder where their fake plants are.
On the road AP wire, right?
Here's some of the pictures from the hallways. Wow, they're literally moving out. Like they have moving teams in there. Dollies taking things out. Fox News, Reuters, CBS. Look at that. They're taking down their signage and everything. Holy cow. They got all of the boxes. Damn. They got the soundproofing. They're taking that down too. Holy cow. Well, like I said, it's going to create a vacuum. And you're going to have more honest reporting. But unfortunately, what will happen is that this is going to spite the media. And because most of the media is left-wing, Democrat operatives, the hate reporting is only going to amplify. Here is Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. This is back on October 5th. Cracking down on the leaks and the fake news reporters roaming the Pentagon whenever they want. This is October 5th now. This is about 11 days ago.
In the press area, our own civilians who can never be party to leaking, we're setting clear rules at the Pentagon. We're not playing games. We're not allowing everybody to roam around the building. You know, that was the policy before, Peter. If you were a Pentagon reporter, you could just walk around the building. No badge, no escort, no nothing. Walk into offices, talk to anybody. Who knows where there's classified information. We're making the rules more like you might say the White House. Can you roam the White House wherever you want?
Typically not without getting a Secret Service guy up in my grill.
So we're just normalizing it. Yes, you can be in the press area, briefing room, but if you want to move around the building, you're going to have a badge. It's going to be clear. You're going to be escorted when you do so, and we have expectation that you're not soliciting classified or sensitive information. I think the American people see things like that as absolute common sense. The Pentagon press corps can squeal all they want. We're taking these things seriously. They can report. They just need to make sure they're following rules.
All they got to do is follow the rules, but apparently they don't want to follow the rules, so they're all walking out. Journalists who cover the Pentagon had to choose between sending a pledge that would make it impossible to do independent journalism, turning in the Pentagon badges. Almost all of them turned in their badges and left the building. CNN reporters showing up at the Pentagon today, handing in their press passes. CNN says this is an extraordinary moment. They're hyperventilating. Well, like I said, this leaves a massive vacuum for us to fill the void. If they won't report, we will. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. You see, this is what draining the swamp looks like in real time. For years, Pentagon reporters acted like they had security clearances, wandering through classified areas, cultivating leaker sources, turning our military headquarters into their personal gossip mill. President Trump and Pete Hegseth just ended that circus. And you know what? Imagine how much better Pentagon coverage will be without all the hostile mainstream media spinning every military decision into an anti-Trump hit piece. No more anonymous sources, no more strategic leaks designed to undermine our troops. Just facts, accountability, and reporters who actually respect operational security. The media's mass walkout proves they were never interested in journalism. They wanted unfettered access to sabotage Trump's military agenda. So here's the real question. Should reporters need security clearances to access classified areas of the Pentagon? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments. And Patriots, if you want to support real journalism, hit the merch shop. It's linked down below. Okay. A couple super chats that come through. We got to hit $100 tonight. Where are we at right now? We are at $29. So we are about $70 short. Exactly. Yes. Best news of the week, says Troy. Heather Reeve, yes. Tyson, yes. Leftist loser, says the Eagle. Truth only. Gary snagged that front row seat in office. Yeah, right, baby. They shouldn't be allowed in, period, says Michael. Get your butt in there, Tom. Dave Wallenberg, sailing. Yes, yes, Margot, yes. I don't think the Pentagon should have any journalists within their walls, in my opinion, says Bill. This makes me very happy. Makes me very happy. Okay, so just a reminder, these segments, the special clips I've put in front of these segments when they drop on the channel. So make sure you watch them. I think you'll enjoy what I have cooked up for you guys. All right, let's move into our next topic here. We're talking about the shutdown. Oh my. This is so cringe. This is just pure cringe. It is day 16 of the government shutdown, and Democrats just exposed their own scam. They're flooding social media with selfie videos from empty congressional halls, trying to make it look like it's abandoned. But why now? Why the sudden coordinated PR blitz? Because John Fetterman just destroyed their narrative on live television, admitting Democrats designed the shutdown by letting healthcare subsidies expire. Bernie Sanders confessed it's all about beating Trump. Meanwhile, Hakeem Jeffries is literally rapping nursery rhymes instead of governing. And while Democrats claim this administration's on vacation, President Trump just secured historic Middle East peace deals. Think about that. Democrats could end this today, but instead they're making propaganda videos while veterans go unpaid. The truth is devastating. They're holding America hostage to protect $2.5 billion in illegal alien health care. Wait till you see what we've got. Now, did you know that gold has gone mainstream? You're seeing it everywhere. Prices keep climbing every day. More Americans are catching on to the power of gold. How do you actually take advantage of it? How do you invest in a way that's simple, safe, and built for the long run? Well, that's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. Noble Gold specialists help investors go from confused to confident. Whether you're rolling over an old 401k into a gold IRA or want physical coins and bars delivered home, Noble Gold makes the process simple. Visit nextnewsgold.com today to claim your free wealth protection kit, or find out how you can qualify for that silver bonus by calling 877-646-5347. And when they pick up the phone, tell them Gary Franchi sent you. Now, the press secretary just a couple hours ago was outside the White House, which is still operating on a skeleton crew, and she weighed in on the Democrat shutdown.
The White House's position on this Democrat shutdown has not changed. All they need to do is vote to reopen the government. That is all we are asking for. That's all Republicans want. We want to reopen the government, get people back to work, get people paid. And the Democrats are just so selfishly using politics to shut down the government and hold the entire country hostage. We now have thousands of flights across the country that have been delayed and canceled because air traffic controllers and TSA agents are not getting paid through this shutdown. President Trump had to tap into tariff revenue to get WIC money out the door for vulnerable women, infant, and children. President Trump and the White House used a creative solution to get our troops paid. The president is bending over backwards to do what's right by the American people, and the Democrats are continuing to play partisan politics. We hope every day that sensible Democrats with just a little bit of courage to stand against Bernie Sanders and AOC, who, according to the CNN town hall last night, are clearly the new leadership of the Democrat Party, stand against that radical nonsense and vote to reopen the government. And then we can have serious conversations about health care, about immigration, about our economy. That's what this administration wants to do. President Trump wants to fix our broken healthcare system. That's why he's had a number of announcements with major drug companies to bring down the cost of prescriptions and pharmaceutical drugs in this country for American consumers. He's more than committed to talking about that. But first, we must reopen the government. And it's deeply unfortunate Democrats voted today for the 10th time to shut down the government for the 16th day in a row. The president...
16th day in a row. 10 votes. They have all denied the government. John Fetterman, though, blowing up the Democrat shutdown narrative. Listen to this.
That's why shutting the government is really what the Democratic Party wants to do. And I follow country, then party, and it's the wrong thing for the country in a period of chaos. I refuse to vote to shut our government down. I absolutely would love to have. I would love.
Every day, John Fetterman just amazes me. I remember when he won and we were all pissed off because Dr. Oz didn't get it and we felt that whole election was stolen too. But I mean, and then of course John Fetterman's condition and he's really come around, guys. And he's really become a voice of reason in the Democrat Party, like it or not.
We would love to have. I would love to have a conversation about extending the tax credits for health care. Absolutely. But I would remind everybody, too, this was designed by the Democratic Party to expire at the end of the year. This is not something taken by the Republicans. They were designed to expire. Now, let's have a conversation to extend it and not shut our government down. That's why.
Wow. The whole thing. They're saying that Republicans are letting it expire, but in fact, it was built into the law itself. Crazy Bernie, though, getting wrecked on national television on CNN. Listen.
How do you think this shutdown reflects on Chuck Schumer's leadership?
Well, I think it reflects more on Mike Johnson's leadership and President Trump's leadership. This is a leadership which said it's okay to give well, how do you feel? You tell me. Think it's a good idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the richest people in the country and then make massive cuts to health care for working class people?
I think Chuck Schumer has voted for continuing resolutions 13 times in the last 4 years, and he has the opportunity to vote for one again, but he's refusing to come to the table.
Well, I think, look.
How do you think this shutdown reflects?
He tried to flip it and ask him. Oh, bad idea. Caitlin Collins, talking to AOC, Rapid Response, writes, these losers, the leaders of the Democrat Party, are not serious people. They don't have any clue what they're talking about other than demanding free health care for illegals to vote to reopen the government. Shame on them.
I think we need to see.
What does that need to look like before you would vote to reopen the government? Or is it commitment from the White House and Republicans enough?
No doubt.
I mean,
the president is a very honest man. And if he says something, man, you could take it to the bank.
So you're saying his word is not enough?
Bankruptcy court.
His word? No.
So what do you need to see? What commitments from?
I think we need to see ink on paper. I think we need to see legislation. I think we need to see votes. And I think we need to see these things pass on the floor of the House and the Senate and signed by President Trump. I don't accept IOUs. I don't accept pinky promises. That's not the business that I'm in.
What does that need to look like?
Wow. She wants votes. You can't vote when the government's shut down, honey. You can't have debates about health care while the government's shut down. She wants ink on paper, but there is no ink when the ink wells are dry. Okay? Wow. Just more empty rhetoric from AOC on CNN. I expect nothing less, though. We're going to get to these cringe selfie videos that Democrats are putting out, but I want to get to some of these points. AOC, let's see what's this. What's going on here? Just a simple question emoji on Rapid Response.
Everything possible Senator Sanders, on that front, on government shutdowns before, obviously you've said before that you believe shutting down the government is a serious and dangerous action. You said that we must do everything possible to prevent it. What would you say to people who are missing their paychecks about why it's worth it now?
Well, let me just, first of all, thank you very much for your service. And we're going to do everything we can and move as quickly as we can to make sure you get your paychecks.
Senator Sanders, on that front, on government shutdowns before.
We're going to do everything we can except cast a vote. Here's AOC trying to act like she's a leader of the Democrat Party. She goes on a wild rant where she makes no sense as usual. Bernie's face says it all. AOC says, I'm ready to negotiate. Let's watch.
My hope is that we're able to resolve this as quickly as possible. I'm ready to negotiate. Bernie's ready to negotiate. I mean, we are all open and ready to.
Is anyone actually negotiating right now?
No, but let me reiterate one point. Republicans aren't in town. How do you negotiate with people who refuse even to show up to do their job? They're on vacation for what, a month now?
Yes. House Republicans have been on vacation for over.
But the Republican senators are here, and House Speaker Mike Johnson, we've had him on. He said, we've done our job. We passed the clean CR in the House. It's now up to the Senate to make these negotiations.
They need to pick up a phone, Caitlin. They need to pick up a phone. They're saying that they're doing all this work. They are twiddling their thumbs and talking to each other. It is actually an unconscionable abdication and refusal to work. They refuse. I've never seen people who hate working so much in my life. I mean, genuinely, they won't even pick up the phone. They won't. If I were Mike Johnson, you should be in that office negotiating with Hakeem Jeffries every damn day until we.
There's nothing to negotiate. It's very simple. A clean CR, open the government. Done. Then we can have a conversation about your wish list.
Reopen this government. And any day that you don't do that is a failure. It is a failure. And until there is accountability for people who refuse to work.
What about accountability for people who refuse to vote? Right? There's only a few holdouts on the Democrat side in the Senate. So what about them? Those holdouts are causing America great pain. You heard the press secretary, right? I mean, the air traffic controllers, it's a real threat. We've been talking about it for days now. It's a real serious threat. I mean, if you have people that they can't figure out where the planes are, pilots, what happens if one of those planes crashes? And you got 300 dead people in a field somewhere. These people are playing with Americans' lives.
Then we're going to continue to be in this cycle. So, you know, in the Senate, the Senate Majority Leader is John Thune.
Okay.
He should be negotiating with Chuck Schumer. President Trump should be having congressional leaders in the White House. Do you see that every day? No, you don't, because they're playing golf and they're going to Mar-a-Lago, and the House and Republicans in the House have been on vacation for weeks now. We are here in Washington, D.C. We are ready to work. We are ready to strike a deal. We're not here to just be.
Okay, yeah, whatever, AOC. We don't deal with terrorists. I think that's the American policy. We don't deal with terrorists. Oh, man. Okay, so did we play this clip? Fetterman admitting Democrats are responsible for the shutdown. That's what they want to do.
Yes, I refuse to vote to shut our government down. I absolutely would love to have.
Yeah, we played that clip. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, the cringe. Okay, fine. We'll do the cringe. Here's Ilhan Omar.
In the White House. Hey, everyone. The government is still shut down by Republicans in the House, in the Senate, and in the White House. We want the government to open back up. And the only way to do that is for Republicans to come to the table to negotiate with us so that we can save Americans from the healthcare crisis that is upon them.
Again, see, this is all lies and propaganda. The clean CR would reopen government and allow the negotiations to happen about healthcare. That is what Speaker Johnson has said repeatedly. But see, they're playing the game. They want that subsidy planted into this continuing resolution so that they can give health care to illegals. That's the game they're playing, and they're all putting out these selfie videos. Like this one who claims to be a congresswoman, Sarah McBride.
Colleagues, Hey everyone, I just wanted to give you a brief update. I just got out of caucus with my Democratic colleagues. We are back in DC, ready to reopen government and solve this healthcare crisis. But our Republican colleagues in the House are nowhere to be seen. You've probably seen me searching for them.
Well, they don't need to be in the House because they've already voted. They've done their job. It's on the Senate side. Cringe after cringe after cringe. What's this? Congresswoman Maxine Dexter from Oregon.
Of the government. Maxine Dexter, Oregon's 3rd. It's day 15 of the government shutdown. And do you know where the Republicans are? Because I don't. They're MIA. I did not come to Congress, working 20 years, taking care of people, to sit back and watch them decimate the healthcare system. You deserve healthcare that you can afford, that's accessible, that's reliable, and they don't care. They are prioritizing their cronies and billionaire tax cuts over your healthcare. And let's also be clear that no matter what the negotiated settlement is when we ultimately get back to work, which needs to happen now, it needs to be ironclad. We need to put an end to Donald Trump doing whatever he wants with the budget. The power of the purse belongs with Congress. And the Republicans in the congressional seats need to get their courage. They need to stand up for their responsibility, taking care of the American people.
Yeah, and all it takes is a vote. Here's another one. Senator Patty Murray says J.D. Vance is straight up lying again.
Shut down the government.
J.D. Vance is straight up lying. Again, watch.
We don't want to be in this situation. We don't want to be laying off federal workers, but the Democrats have shut down the government. They have forced us to choose between American citizens and federal bureaucrats.
No one is making J.D. Vance and Trump hurt workers. They just want to. Let me say that again. A shutdown doesn't require any administration to fire people or lay off staff. Over the last few days, they have fired people who help our special needs students in the classroom. We are talking about kids with disabilities. They even fired the people who protect us from things like measles and Ebola. Trump and Vance have recklessly been firing and then rehiring and then firing and rehiring people all year. It is
That's called draining the swamp, lady. Okay? That's a textbook definition of it. Oh, no. McBride is back. I'm not even going to play that. It's just too cringe. Here's Harmeet Dillon, though. She knows what's up.
Having a little shutdown party at my house here in D.C.
She's having a shutdown party at her house. You can see in the background, there's Mike Johnson, some other folks, I'm not sure.
To socialize with my colleagues in the Civil Rights Division who are working, many of them not getting paid, and so we're having a little social get-together.
No, that's not Mike Johnson, sorry.
Having a little shutdown party at my house.
That was 24 hours ago. CNN plays... Rapid response is brutal sometimes, man. CNN, look at how they write this. CNN plays a question from a bartender. Oh, I immediately thought it was... I immediately thought they were talking about AOC. But it's an actual bartender. CNN plays a question from a bartender who now faces losing out on her dream home due to the government shutdown because Democrats like Bernie Sanders. Let's listen.
Hurting a million.
My American dream has turned into a nightmare. My family was only days away from closing on a USDA loan for our dream home. Then came news of the shutdown, and now we face uncertainty. Our lease is up, and now we have to move. The shutdown is costing us our chance to live our dream. What are you doing to end this stalemate and help restore faith in our elected officials, the people I helped to choose to guard my American dream?
We're going to do everything that we can
to bring an end to this terrible shutdown, which is hurting you and which is hurting 1 million federal employees and millions of people who use federal services. But also, we have got to be cognizant that if Trump wins this fight, our healthcare system could well collapse.
My American dream has turned into a...
Could well collapse. See, there's the qualifier. Could well collapse. Healthcare could collapse if he wins the fight. All they want is to open the government so they can have a discussion about healthcare. Oh no. Pramila Jayapal. 24 hours ago, Democrats were in Washington, D.C. ready to negotiate. Where are the Republicans?
It's dead. Hey, everyone, I'm in the Capitol. It's dead. There is nobody here. Mike Johnson sent everybody home. Empty, empty, empty. We're on day 15 of the shutdown. We have not been in session for 25 consecutive days. This is outrageous. Lower healthcare costs and reopen the government. Hey, everyone, I'm in...
Oh boy. Oh, here's Ilhan Omar. The Trump administration is leaving disabled students behind. Oh, yeah?
You said people gonna die?
Yeah, that's basically what they're trying to say, Jar Jar.
To go to work. What support are you trying to offer federal employees who are furloughed or working without pay right now?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, federal employees are like many employees in the United States, where they are one paycheck away from losing their house, from not being able to pay for childcare in order to continue to go to work, paying for the essential needs that they have. So one of the legislation that we are offering is for there to be support for childcare costs for those that are working without pay.
Oh, that's the bill you're trying to pass, Ilhan? How are you going to have a vote if the government's closed? You see, you got to pass the CR. Dude, this is the straight up lies. These are the lies.
And this shutdown is also threatening a massive workforce reduction at the Department of Education. As you know, senior leaders there sounded the alarm today, saying that there will soon be no one left to enforce the IDEA Act. Now, that's the law that ensures disabled students get special education services. So, Congresswoman, when you hear that, your thoughts on this potential threat to America's most vulnerable students?
Yeah, I mean, when we think about what was already happening before the Trump administration decided to go ahead with the dismantling of the Department of Education and now getting funding for IDEA, is that there was already a donut hole of funding for IDEA to states. We know that there is a huge, huge need across our communities here in America, and to have further devastation to programs that are essential to keeping our kids educated and keeping that brighter future shining for the United States is really scary.
What's scary is knowing that you're a congresswoman. Here's another liar, Richard Blumenthal.
If you're traveling and going to an airport, Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, wants you to be part of her captive audience. In fact, she has a little propaganda piece blaming Democrats for the shutdown. It's not only inappropriate, it's illegal for her to use those TSA monitors to spread her personal political propaganda. And that's why I am demanding that she stop browbeating airports into aiding and abetting her illegal political campaign. And
okay, so she's putting out policy statements and clarifications on airport monitors. Okay. He's calling it a political campaign. What about the political campaign? Remember when CNN was on every single television in the airports, spewing their hate all day long? So Kristi Noem goes on camera, puts out a video clarifying why everyone's flights are delayed, why there's no one in the towers watching the planes, trying to give travelers some peace of mind. And he's calling it propaganda and a political campaign. Absolutely shameful. But all this is coordinated propaganda from the Democrats right now. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next, because this is political theater at its most disgusting. Democrats staging empty hall selfie videos pretending to work while blocking every vote to reopen government. You see, they designed the crisis, let the subsidies expire on purpose, and point fingers at Republicans. And Fetterman admitted it. Bernie confirmed it's about Trump, and Hakim's rapping about it being Trump's fault. It's day 16, and they're choosing illegal alien health care over American veterans. They've burned through $2.5 billion on foreign nationals while mothers lose WIC benefits and federal workers go without paychecks. Stephen Smith nailing it. This is why Americans are furious. Democrats would rather see the country burn than admit their sanctuary policies failed. They're protecting criminals over citizens, funding invaders over veterans. So here's the question. Do you believe Democrats are intentionally keeping the government shut down to protect illegal alien benefits? Yes or no? Sound off in the comments and show where you stand. Check out our Patriot gear because our shop is still open. It's linked down below. All right, we got some super chats to address here. We're at $70, only $30 away. We only need 3 super chats at $10 each, and we'll hit our goal. Our Boyd dropping $20. Thank you, sir. Much love, Gary. Can't stay in the chat. Showing support and saying hi to everyone. MAGA, MAHA, WWG1WGA. Dan Thompson, we want to see AOC back at the strip bar. Inbred Outlook, $10. Evening, friends. And he comes back with a $2. He says, bull butter. We passed the clean resolution. Lying Democrats, exactly. He came back again with another $2. Divorce your bio brother and we might listen. Of course, a jab at Ilhan Omar for marrying her brother. Dan Thompson dropping $5. How can you tell when a politician is telling a lie? Their lips are moving. Classic. Absolutely classic. Moving into our fourth topic of the evening. Okay. The silent majority just became a roaring army. While the media demonize ICE agents as villains, something extraordinary happened. 175,000 American patriots stepped up to join their ranks. That's right, despite the left's vicious propaganda campaign, despite judges tearing down ICE facility fences, despite threats of violence from radical activists, these brave Americans said enough is enough. They're flooding recruitment offices from coast to coast, ready to defend our borders and restore law and order. Border czar Tom Homan dropping the hammer with a simple message. We're showing consequences for breaking our laws. But here's what's really driving the left insane. This massive recruitment surge happened after they spent months attacking ICE. The backlash is real, so stay tuned. But did you know the gold has gone mainstream? Seeing it everywhere. Prices keep climbing. Every day, more Americans are catching on to the power of gold. But how do you actually take advantage of it? How do you invest in a way that's safe, simple, and built for the long run? That's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. Noble Gold specialists, they help investors go from confused to confident. Whether you're rolling over an old 401k into a gold IRA or want physical coins and bars delivered to your home, Noble Gold makes the process simple. Visit nextnewsgold.com. It's linked down below to claim your free wealth protection kit and see if you qualify for that silver bonus, a 10-ounce silver flag bar and a 1-ounce silver eagle. Call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Now, before we get into the ICE news, we have some news on the Bolton indictment that is pending. Panic is erupting within Democrat circles after John Bolton, Letitia James, and James Comey were indicted, with major concerns that more indictments are coming against deep state or corrupt officials. Listen to this.
Is taking they do it, but why?
This is MSNBC.
Why are we even having this conversation? Why is this happening? Because Donald Trump has ordered his Justice Department to systematically go after his political opponents. Again, show me the man, I will show you the crime. And I think that...
That's exactly what they did to Donald Trump, remember?
his political opponents. Again, show me the man, I will show you the crime. And I think that, again, we need to balance those thoughts at the same time. And I really appreciate the caution with which people are addressing this right now and the distinctions between this prosecution and, say, the prosecution of James Comey. But let's never forget that this prosecution is taking place because Donald Trump wills it and will continue, as Maya just said, will continue to insist upon these kinds of vindictive prosecution. They do it, but why?
Yeah, these prosecutions need to happen. Here we have this. Following an activist judge ordered DHS now removing fencing around ICE Broadview near Chicago. This comes just days ahead of mass protests, the King's Day riots. Judicial tyranny is going to end up getting ICE agents killed. Here's the video. Look at them. They're taking down what's intended to protect those facilities. And the No Kings riots are about to happen this weekend. That ICE facility, especially with no National Guard protection, sitting ducks. Whatever's going to happen in Broadview this weekend is going to be scary. One by one, panel removed. Activist judges overruling the executive branch's ability to protect its own facilities in light of domestic terror attacks against them by Soros-funded agitators. This is insane. But of course, the media, they continue to demonize ICE. However, 175,000 patriots have now stepped up and applied anyway. Let's hear what they're saying.
Months. You guys, I'm hyped for this one. You want proof that nobody cares about the No Kings protests? Do you want proof that America is waking up and not listening to that crowd? Well, how about 175,000 Americans applying to work for ICE in just the last few months? People are lining up to help defend our borders, protect our communities, and bring law and order back to this country. This isn't fear. This is patriotism. These are everyday Americans saying we're not buying what the media is telling us anymore, because the same media that tried to demonize ICE for years is now watching the American people proudly step up to wear that badge. Under President Trump.
Did you see that sign, though, at the beginning? Join ICE today. $50,000 signing bonus. What would you do with $50,000, a signing bonus? That is remarkable. Quite an incentive, not just to protect your country, but get a fat signing bonus. 175,000 Americans applying for jobs at ICE. Big headline here. Fox News just came out too. ICE announced the arrest of an illegal alien from Montenegro who was working as a sworn police officer. Montenegro. Here's the press secretary on Fox 6 hours ago.
This just came out, apparently as part of Operation Midway Blitz. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, announced the arrest of Radulle Bajic, an illegal alien from Montenegro who was working as a sworn police officer with the Hanover Park Police Department. Bajic apparently was encountered during a targeted enforcement action as part of Operation Midway Blitz. DHS reminding it's a felony for an illegal alien to possess a firearm. And this fellow apparently was working as a sworn police officer. I know you might not know much about it, but wondering if we can get an initial reaction.
No, this is the first time I'm hearing of it. I will take your facts as the facts, John, on this one. And it's unsurprising to me to hear this because we've seen various examples of this. There was a superintendent, I believe in the state of Iowa, who was here in this country illegally with a final order of removal. We've seen that New York State has been giving out licenses illegally to illegal aliens with literally, it says, no name given on the driver's license. So these are the cases that happen when you had an administration administration, the Biden administration, for 4 years that completely neglected the laws of our homeland, that allowed mass invasion of tens of millions of illegal aliens, and they have been infiltrated into our communities. So this is another unfortunate example of that, and the Department of Homeland Security is doing incredible work every single day in the face of grave danger and threats, and also Democrats holding their paychecks hostage. We have federal law enforcement who are trying to keep our communities safe, and they are not being paid because of the Democrat Party, but they are doing God's work, and we are very grateful for them, and the president stands behind them 100%.
This
shocking news. But here is equally shocking. Crazy Bernie says ICE raids, in which some of the most dangerous criminals on earth have been taken off American streets, are about a movement towards authoritarianism. So enforcing the law is authoritarianism. Got it, Bernie.
On Trump, what he is trying to do and what ICE raids and knocking down doors are about is to make all of you afraid. You're a federal employee, don't speak up. You're a government official, don't speak up. You're in a law firm that somehow had clients taking on Trump, don't speak up because they're going to punish you. You are on CNN, we're going to sue you if you ask the wrong questions. My friends, what this is about.
No, they're suing them when they spread disinformation and lies. You can ask questions, but you can't spread outright lies, and CNN has been sued a number of times for that. Covington kids, anyone?
Is a movement toward authoritarianism, intimidating us all. What he is trying to do and what ICE raids and knocking down doors are about is to make.
Let's see, we got some more here. Borders are Tom Homan snapping after Chris Cuomo attacks ICE deportation strategy.
These men and women look, the masks, it's a bad look, all right? I understand the security problem with it, but it's a bad look. You make these men and women look like Hamas, and then you don't think people are going to react to them that way. Of course they are. They got their, it's like this stupid movie, Men in Masks Not Be Trusted. That's what you're setting them up for. I get the risk. Color of authority matters also. They should have a badge. You should be able to identify what they are. Nobody should have to guess that they're getting duped and they're not who they say they are. Everybody does it the same way. I get the sensitivity of the security. I'm with you. Two things that I think are getting stuck up. One, you talk about seeing data all the time. You guys do not put out data enough. Track is the best thing that they have, right? Syracuse University has this open FOIA request. I hear you on shows all the time, Tom. I do not think that you're FOS, okay? I've known you a long time. You can't say, I see the data all the time. Great, I don't. Put the data out, because track, you can look it up for yourself, TRAC, it's an acronym through Syracuse University. It's like 50-50. That takes me to the next point, which is you're not cutting fat, you're cutting muscle. And these communities need people who may have entered the wrong way but have done everything right since. And their kids are here, and they're productive. But that's and their employers need them. What? That's for Congress to do. They got to I'm not on. Listen, Tom and I have talked about this. You're an enforcement guy. I'm with you, and Tom makes the right point that they got to fix it. But enforcement priorities matter.
Okay, Fredo, get to the point.
I'm being transparent tonight. 70% of everybody arrested is a criminal. President Trump said we're going to concentrate on national security threats. That's exactly what we're doing. The data shows it. And like I said, for the hundreds of thousands of criminals that is going to be removed in this administration, that makes that country safe again, keeping President Trump's promise to American people what he was going to do. He said he's going to have the largest deportation operation in history. We're going to have the largest deportation operation in history. You look at numbers right now, I just told you, over 500,000 have been deported between CBP and ICE. And that's not counting the first 4 months of the fiscal year that were under Biden. We're not even counting those months. But if you extrapolate that in the monthly apprehension we got right now, you do have the biggest operation in the history of the nation. And one of the reasons people don't understand, why do we have the most secure border in the nation's history? Because President Trump's executive orders, his leadership on that, the men and women of the border who stand in that front line and catch and release. And third, because the whole world sees ICE out there every day across this nation enforcing the immigration law, sends a clear message of consequences so families don't spend their life savings handing it to a criminal cartel to make that dangerous journey because they know there's consequences. President Trump's policies, whether people want to face it or not, is saving lives by the thousands. Under Joe Biden, a record number of aliens died making that journey. A record number of Americans died from fentanyl coming across that border. This administration is not only enforcing law and making our streets safe again, they're saving thousands of lives.
Look, the mask.
thousands and thousands of lives are being saved. Here's more from Tom Homan on Fox, because one of the reasons we have the most secure border.
Because we have the most secure border in history of this nation, because of President Trump's leadership and executive orders, because the men and women of the Border Patrol, what they're doing on that border, but also because of what ICE is doing in the interior and showing, like Governor did, we have consequences. You will be locked up. You will be deported. And we send that message across the whole world that we got over 1,000 ICE teams on the streets every day. People are giving their life savings to the criminal cartels to make that dangerous journey. So one of the reasons we have the most secure border in history of this nation is because we're showing there's consequences. And we've got great relationships with several governors across the country. We're going to keep showing there are consequences violating our laws. There are consequences for ignoring an immigration judge's removal. And there are consequences for committing crimes against U.S. citizens, especially if you're here illegally.
Consequences, baby. Here's Stephen Miller, 22 hours ago.
President Trump's kind words. First of all, let me say how touched I was by President Trump's kind words today, and what a extraordinary honor it is to work for him. The work that he has done on public safety these last several months will go down in history as one of the greatest achievements that any president has ever accomplished. Just look here at our nation's capital. Sean, you and I have talked about this before. It is the largest, steepest, fastest reduction in violent crime ever recorded at any place in the history of our country. And I think you would say the history of any country. The change has been night and day. This is now one of the safest cities in the world from one of the most violent cities in the world. In Memphis, where President Trump has launched his task force in full force less than 2 weeks ago, we are already hearing reports of crime reductions that are so staggering, people can't even believe it. And we see videos posted online all day by residents who are saying for the first time that they can remember, their kids can play outside, they can walk down the street, they can go where they want to go, do what they want to do. They feel liberated because they have been liberated. At that same press conference today, President Trump talked about how under his leadership and direction, the FBI has arrested and removed and prosecuted with the Department of Justice over 20,000 of the most violent criminals on earth in just the last several months. 20,000. Think about how many lives that saved, Sean. Think about how many families that saved. The contrast couldn't be more clear. We have Democrat politicians, Democrat judges, Democrat prosecutors setting loose thugs, hoodlums, gangbangers, and cartel killers that are stabbing children to death, murdering innocent women on the subway, mugging people in broad daylight, making life hell for law-abiding citizens. And we have President Trump using DOJ, DHS, and yes, the U.S. military to make our cities safe again for all Americans. I am so proud, Sean, to be able to be a small part of President Trump's leadership and his effort to make America secure for our people.
And we are glad you're there, Stephen. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. See, this is what winning looks like, Patriots. The media spent years painting ICE agents as monsters, comparing them to Nazis, calling for their abolishment. Chris Cuomo even said they look like Hamas. And what happened? 175,000 Americans raised their hands and said, "Sign me up." That's the real America responding to the radical left's attacks. Now, these aren't just numbers. Okay, these are fathers, mothers, veterans, and young patriots who've had enough of watching their country get invaded. Tom Homan's message resonates because it's a simple truth. Enforce the law, protect Americans, show consequences for breaking our borders. Meanwhile, activist judges are literally tearing down ICE facility fences before this weekend's Soros-funded riots. They're terrified because America is fighting back. So here's my question. Would you or someone in your family consider joining ICE to defend our nation? Yes or no? Let's have a conversation in the comments. And if you don't want to put on that uniform, you can always put on one of ours. Wear your support proudly. Check out our merch shop. It's linked down below. All right. Dan Thompson dropping $20 about 15 minutes ago. Fine, Gary, take my money. Please remember Ruby Ridge. Never forgotten. Never forgotten. Tamara Jennings just gave a membership away. Howling Wolf became the recipient. So we're now only $10 away from our goal for the evening. Who will be the one to put us over the top? Will it be you? You're thinking about it. You know you want to do it. Just tap the little $sign right below this chat window. Type in $10, drop a message, I'll read it, and you'll be the hero of the night. Okay, let's get to our next topic of the day, because that No Kings rally is real. It is real, and it is a major threat, because we know George Soros is behind it. Okay. Get this. Instead of reopening the government, Chuck Schumer is literally advertising street riots on social media. The No King's Day temper tantrum is set for this weekend, with 2,500 protest sites and millions of professional victims ready to throw their collective fit, or perhaps their Molotovs. You see, these are the same geniuses who think that matching signs make them revolutionaries. Well, Ted Cruz just exposed that George Soros is bankrolling the entire circus because, of course, he is, right? Here's the kicker. Federal authorities have now confirmed that Antifa, the trust fund terrorists organizing this mess, now legally qualifies for drone strikes under terrorism laws. That's right, because their little black bloc costume party just graduated to the big leagues. And I'm going to show you just how desperate and pathetic it really is. Before I do, you got to know that gold's gone mainstream. You're seeing it everywhere. Prices keep climbing. Every day, more Americans are catching on to the power of gold. But how do you actually take advantage of it? How do you invest in a way that's safe, simple, and built for the long run? Well, that's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. Noble Gold specialists help investors go from confused to confident. Whether you're rolling over an old 401k into a gold IRA or want physical coins and bars delivered to your home, Noble Gold makes the process simple. Visit nextnewsgold.com to claim your free wealth protection kit and find out if you qualify for that silver bonus, a 10-ounce silver flag bar and a 1-ounce silver eagle. The number's on the screen, 877-646-5347. Give my friends over there a call. Say hi to Colin for me and tell him Gary Franchi told you to call. Now, you just can't make this up. Instead of reopening the government, Chuck Schumer is advertising for the No Kings protests on the floor of the Senate. This is going to come back to bite him.
Greatest things about one of the greatest things about America, exercising the right to peacefully protest, exercising the right to free speech. This weekend's No Kings rallies will be an affirmation about what America is all about. We are a democracy in America. We have no kings, despite the fact that Trump has even said he wants to become one and is acting in ways that are a threat to our democracy.
By the way, Chuck, it's a republic, just to be clear.
In America, we do not have dictators, and we cannot allow presidents to transform the presidency into some form of dictatorship. And now more than ever, for that reason, it is vital Americans from one end of the country to the other stand up for our basic freedoms, because Donald Trump is eroding our democracy day by day by day. So this weekend, I encourage Americans everywhere, Americans who love this country, who care about our democracy. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican or independent, a liberal or a moderate or conservative. The vast majority of Americans want to preserve this democracy. And the No Kings rally says that in a very strong way, where millions of Americans, millions will come together to say just that we don't want kings in America.
I get to see this speech overlaid with all the firebomb Starbucks from this weekend.
I will join the marchers to celebrate what makes this country so great. And I say to my fellow citizens, do not let Donald Trump or Republicans intimidate you into silence. One of the greatness.
Chuck Schumer. American Papa Bear posting this. The left is holding another No Kings Day, this rally this weekend. This is the hands down best response to these clowns in the No Kings Day events that I've heard. You're going to want to hear this. This woman is on point. Let's hear it.
That the leftist regime. Millions of y'all protesting this Saturday. No kings. Oh, please. Y'all acted like Fauci was Moses parting the 6 feet at Costco while you stood in line for toilet paper and your 4th booster shot, waiting for your next commandments from CNN. Wore the mask like a sacrament. You kneel for BLM. You obey every rainbow rule that the leftist regime throws your way. But now you've got a problem with authority? Let's be real, you don't hate kings. You want them in fishnets reading to toddlers. You're not anti-tyranny. You just want the right tyrants. The ones who bang your gas stove, censor your speech, and inject your kids with whatever Pfizer says is holy. Jay Jones texts about 2 bullets in the head. Kids dying. And you say nothing. Charlie Kirk is assassinated in broad daylight and y'all throw a party. We used to be shadow banned, but now we're being shot. I'm not scared of your Etsy signs and your TikTok rage. I'm scared of a world where speaking truth gets you a bullet. And you clap like seals when they drag patriots off in bod bags. Keep your little sign. I'll keep my Bible, my backbone, and a screenshot of every threat you pretended wasn't real. Millions of y'all protesting this Saturday.
Yeah, she's on point. Well, here we have this now. Members of Antifa. This is 5 hours ago. Officer Liu posting. Members of Antifa, classified as a foreign terrorist organization under applicable law, are legally eligible for targeted drone strikes pursuant to the Office of Legal Counsel Memorandum, which was affirmed by the Second Circuit Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court and originated during the Obama administration. Here is the memorandum for the Attorney General. It says, regarding the applicability of federal criminal laws and the Constitution to contemplated lethal operations against Sheikh Anwar al-Awlaki. This is the July 10th memorandum, which now apparently applies to Antifa. Here is a map of some of the planned No Kings protests that are scheduled. This is, I think this is, where is this? I can't see some of the city names. Oyster Bay, Ilsip. Is this New York or Maine? But anyway, you guys can tell me in the comments. Educate me. But you can see just a handful. That's just one portion of the country. Chris Murphy writes, the Republicans' attack on the No Kings protests are sickening. To them, only pro-Trump speech is protected. If you oppose Trump, you hate America or you're a terrorist. What they're trying to do is simple. Suppress turnout this weekend. Don't let them win.
Rhetoric is rampant. So the big No Kings protest is coming up on Saturday. This is a really important day. It's a day for this country to stand up and say that we've had enough with the destruction of democracy, the building of Trump's censorship state, the evisceration of our healthcare. But it's pretty incredible how Republicans are showing their true colors. They're showing us how much they hate democracy. They're showing us how much they hate free speech. The rhetoric is ramped up from Republican leaders in the last few days. These aren't sort of fringe actors in the conservative movement. These are the leaders of the House Republican Conference calling the protesters that are going to show up on Saturday terrorists, saying that No Kings is a hate rally. What Republicans are basically telling you is that they hate free speech. They hate free speech when it isn't conservative speech, when it isn't pro-Trump speech. If you offer any criticism of this government, then you hate America. That's ridiculous, un-American, and unpatriotic. The fact is, our country was founded on the idea that everyone has a right, a God-given right, a constitutionally protected right to speak up and protest your government, especially when you think they have become lawless and corrupt. And so the idea that the people who are showing up to protest Trump are terrorists, trying to get you to stay home. They're trying to get you to believe that simply by peace.
Okay, well, see, there's a difference here. Okay. Yes, we have the right to freely assemble and to protest and demand a redress of grievances. But 95% of the time, once it gets dark, the pallets of bricks show up, the gas masks go on, the Molotovs are lit, buildings go up in flames, because the agitators are embedded within the peaceful protesters. Yes, quite a few of those folks during the day, like the one that Chuck Schumer is going to, it's going to be just regular average folks. Just screaming. They're going to go home with a hoarse throat and they're not going to be able to speak. I was screaming at the rally all day. Meanwhile, outside, cities will burn. Because that's the modus operandi. Let's find out what Ted Cruz is saying. Because he says there's considerable evidence that George Soros and his network are funding the No Kings rallies. That's why he's introduced the Stop Funders Act. It lets law enforcement prosecute those funding acts of political violence. See, that's when these rallies cross the line from peaceful protests to terrorist acts.
That would. Now, I will say one of the most important things President Trump has done recently is he has pledged that he's going to go after Antifa. And what I've been urging is follow the money, cut off the money. And you look at this No Kings rally, and there's considerable evidence that George Soros and his network is behind funding these rallies, which may well be riots all across the country. And Soros is writing the check. And so I've introduced legislation called the Stop Funders Act that would add rioting to the list of predicate offenses for RICO. Why is that? Because it would let the Department of Justice use RICO, racketeering, to prosecute the money that is funding the anti-Semitic protests on campuses, the pro-open border protest in L.A. and other cities, and these No King protests. Anyone that is supporting rioting and violence, it lets you go after the money. And I'll tell you, there are more than 200 left-wing groups behind these No Kings rallies this weekend. They deliberately are blind to what each of the others are doing. That's part of how they avoid accountability. RICO is designed for precisely that sort of criminal enterprise. And so I believe the Senate, we ought to take up and vote on and pass our Stop Funders legislation. And I've urged both Pam Bondi at DOJ and Kash Patel at FBI, follow the money and prosecute those who are writing checks funding acts of violence, political violence or otherwise, across the country.
No Kings rally this weekend. Be there or be square. Here's Pam Bondi.
Well, sure. And that's one of the things about Antifa. You've heard President Trump say multiple times they are organized. They are a criminal organization, and they're very organized. You're seeing people out there with thousands of signs that all match, pre-bought, pre-put together. They're organized, and someone is funding it. We're going to get to the funding of Antifa. We're going to get to the root of Antifa, and we are going to find and charge all of those people who are causing this chaos in Portland and all these other cities across our country. Talk to all the influencers who have been threatened and beat up and their lives threatened from Antifa members. It's going to stop under Donald Trump. Well, sure.
And Ted Cruz is right there by his side. Oh, what's this? MSNBC, Rachel Maddow. This is an anti-No Kings profile by Andrew. Last time we organized No Kings protests in June, we turned out over 5 million people. No, this is actually this is a pro No Kings. There's a crown with a scratch through it, so I thought it was anti, but no, it's not. Last time we organized No Kings protests in June, we turned out over 5 million people in over 2,100 locations across the country. This time we have over 2,500 locations. And here with a clip with Rachel Maddow.
We covered them here on this. More than 5 million Americans turned out in small towns and big cities all across the country for those No Kings protests against the Trump administration back in June. That No Kings Day protest, that one day in June, is considered to be one of the 3 largest days of peaceful protest ever in U.S. history. There were so many demonstrations on No Kings Day in June that when we covered them here on this show the following day, we had to show them in batches of 20. To even scratch the surface of how many of them there were. Well, now the second No Kings Day is just around the corner. It's this Saturday, October 18th. And the organizing effort around it so far indicates that it might be even bigger this time around. In June, for those huge protests. They got like 2,100 different protests. This time for Saturday, organizers are expecting more than 2,500, even more than we saw in June. More than 5.
And how many of those are going to turn violent? Jessica Tarlov, people coming out to these No Kings protests are not partisan plans. They're real Americans concerned about the direction of the authoritarian overreach. She's going. Okay, yeah, like I just said, a lot of them are just good American people. Sad, though, they've been deceived into thinking that Donald Trump is some sort of authoritarian dictator. They've been deceived by the media, people like Jessica Tarlov, people like Rachel Maddow. But just wait to see what happens when the lights go down. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So here's what's hilarious. These basement revolutionaries think that they're fighting tyranny while their puppet master Soros pulls the strings from his mansion. They're scheduling their spontaneous uprising like a yoga class, complete with matching signs and coordinated Instagram posts. Schumer, on the Senate floor, right, tweeting protest ads instead of doing his job, proving Democrats care more about street theater than governing. The No Kings crowd claims they're defending democracy while taking orders from unelected billionaires and organizing violent riots. And now that they've crossed into domestic terrorism territory, they might want to think, right? Those black mass drones do have really good cameras. They're going to call Trump authoritarian while they literally burn cities and attack cops. This is Olympic level projection. So here's the question. Should Antifa rioters who assault ICE agents face federal terrorism charges? Yes or no? Drop your answer below. And if you want to show these clowns what real America stands for, grab some gear from our merch shop. It's linked down below. All right, we hit our goal for the evening. And since we have a minute, I will show you what I made for the Shutdown video, because I just want to show it, because I think it's awesome. Let's see. Let's go to the Big Feed chat. Here it is.
If anyone's still out there, this is what happened.
That's just a little taste of some of the stuff you're going to see on this channel as I start to learn more and more how Sora works and continue to perfect my prompt engineering to create cinematic masterpieces that would normally take quite literally hundreds of thousands of dollars to produce. And I can literally think it up, type it up, post it, and share it with you guys. What's really beautiful about AI is it's especially this type of AI, is that it's a canvas. It's a tool. And I'm a very creative person. And ask anybody who knows me. And I have just remarkable ideas that sometimes just come to me about films and different manners of reporting. And that's why Next News Network has always been on the cutting edge. Not just because of my creativity and my drive, not just because of Brian's ability to, implement technologies ahead of anyone else. It's because we go out there and we test and we try and we push the envelope. And then everybody else follows us. I mean, if you look at we've been doing this for like 20 years. And God bless all the new kids on the block, but, they had to learn somewhere. They all watch the Next News Network. And a lot of them, pick up from the cues in the way that we produce content. And they're doing it now. And a lot of them are very successful. So I'll take that. But at the end of the day, we'll probably be one of the first of the outlets out there in the new media taking full advantage of these technologies and having fun with it and being able to craft our message and present our message in another way. I mean, like just this scene alone that you're seeing here. I mean, this whole scene, you know, we basically said we wanted to have our the calls to action that we have at the beginning of our show, but presented in a way where they are from famous films. You know, you have The Gladiator, you have Fight Club, you have Ghostbusters, you have Scarface, you know, Napoleon Dynamite, all these different things. I mean, there's no way we could have produced these ever before. The Matrix. So, buckle up. There's going to be a lot more fun ahead. And we just hit our goal, too, so thank you guys. $110. Happy birthday. Someone's birthday. Happy birthday, whoever it is. So, thanks again, guys, for joining us on this episode, because what you just witnessed is the complete unraveling of their entire corrupt system. We started with an illegal alien cop in Illinois, 10 years of arresting Americans while collecting $78,000 a year. On your dime, Governor Pritzker's sanctuary state literally armed an invader and unleashed him on law-abiding citizens. That's not incompetence, that's treason. Then we exposed the Pentagon media purge. Pete Hegseth and President Trump just ended decades of fake news operatives wandering through classified areas like they own the place. Over 30 outlets drew temper tantrums and walked out because they lost their leak pipeline. Good riddance. The Pentagon belongs to warriors, not propagandists. Day 16 of the Democrat shutdown proved what we've known all along. They'd rather fund illegals than feed veterans. Even Fetterman admitting that they designed the crisis. Bernie confessed it's about Trump. Hakeem making rap videos in empty halls while Americans suffer. They've chosen $2.5 billion for border jumpers. Nothing for you. But here's where it gets beautiful. 175,000 patriots joining ICE. Silent majority becoming an army. While judges tear down fences and media demonizes enforcement, real Americans are stepping up to defend this nation. That's the backlash they never saw coming. And this weekend, the Soros-funded circus comes to town. No King's Day, where trust fund revolutionaries pretend they're fighting tyranny while taking orders from billionaire puppeteers. Schumer's promoting riots instead of governing. Antifa is officially eligible for drone strikes. These basement dwellers picked the wrong fight. So to everyone who sent in super chats and rumble rants, you guys made the show electric tonight. Your energy, your passion, your refusal to back down, that's what powers the raw feed. We're not just reporting news, we're building a movement. So tell a friend about what you learned tonight. Text them, call them, share the show. The algorithm cannot stop word of mouth. Truth spreads person to person and patriot to patriot. If you haven't yet, check out our merch shop. Wear your support proudly. Because when you rock Next News gear, you're not just supporting independent media, you're declaring independence from their lies. Remember, this is bigger than one show, one scandal, or one shutdown. This is about reclaiming our country from criminals who gave badges to illegals, billions to invaders, and power to mobs. They thought they could gaslight us forever. Well, they thought wrong. So, we'll see you tomorrow. Same fight. We'll be here. We're going to keep exposing. They'll keep panicking. And together, we'll keep winning. Thank you for joining the Raw Feed. We'll see you all on the next show. Remember, the revolution isn't coming. It's here, and we're winning.